right, guys, welcome to the Good Stuff Podcast, where we like to talk about the good stuff going on here in the community. Today, we're here with the cast and crew of Newsies.
That's it. Ladies, why don't you introduce yourself?
My name is Molly Mellish, and I'm a dance captain.
What grade are you in, Molly?
I'm a sophomore.
My name is Kenzie Strasser. I'm a sophomore, and I'm also a dance captain.
Awesome. Okay.
And you are?
Oh, I'm Ashley. I'm Ashley Schwinn, and I am his wife and also the choreographer of Newsies.
And again, I'm Derek Schwinn, your host for this podcast. So, we have a show coming up soon, right?
Yes.
Yes? Are we excited?
Yes.
Yes.
Very excited.
Yeah.
Okay. So, for those of you who don't know, this lady owns a dance studio and likes to work in these programs to choreograph. I always say that word
To
wrong.
choreograph.
Why don't you just take over?
Okay. Yeah, so I have the privilege and honor of choreographing this show, which is a super, super fun show, and have been incredibly impressed with the talent, once again, in our community. And I think this show is just a great way to highlight all of that. And we know that Newsies is a really, really dance-heavy show, and so we thought it would be fun to talk to dance captains, because we've always had dance captains for shows that we've done, but this year in particular, the responsibilities were pretty big for dance captains, and these two ladies and then our third dance captain, Kai, really stepped up in a big way to help out with choreography. So I guess first, let's just talk about what it means. What was your experience like being a dance captain and all the things that you did to help support the show?
So, like, this year in particular, like, Newsies is just, like we said, a heavy dance show. And we're really fortunate to have, like, lots of dance studios in town. We have, like, 3 amazing studios. And so we can do a lot, like, harder, more intricate choreography because there are so many dancers that are in it. So just, like, doing that is, like, a lot to clean. And there's a lot of tap. There's different styles we do. So just we both kind of, and Kai, because Kai's not here, we all just kind of break it up, and we'll clean each part, and we do notes for everything, blockings, all that stuff.
Going back to Newsies being a very dance-heavy show, it was easy to divide and conquer with 3 dance captains to clean multiple different sections, and everyone had a lot of dance experience, and most dancers in the show had a good few years of dance experience. So it was easier to clean, like, a lot of numbers, and I just think being a dance captain, like, we got to film a lot of videos to help and always come up with notes that'll make our show a lot better.
Yeah, I also found kind of wanting to go into the profession. It's kind of helped me just kind of realize what I'm really going to have to take on, just giving people notes. And I think it was kind of hard at the beginning. We felt weird being like, oh my gosh, you're wrong, we're sorry. But it's okay to be wrong and it's okay to make mistakes. But it was that kind of finding that balance of we're just trying to help you. It's no we're not being
A
rude
nice power balance between
just
different
being
students.
able to clean and get things done to it look good for the show.
So, I guess that question for me, are you, maybe I missed this, junior, senior, freshman?
We're sophomores.
Sophomores?
And then
Okay, so
Kai-
that probably
yeah.
makes it even a little more of a challenge if you have older folks. That
Yeah,
Yes.
Kai's a
Good.
junior, so we're on the younger half, I guess.
Well, good for you guys.
Oh yes.
The way that, for people who don't know, the way that all of that works is that I am really just here once a week. In the beginning, we had a few extra rehearsal days, but primarily once a week, and most of the time it's just giving choreo. And so then the dance captains take it over, and they really implement cleaning and keep track of what still needs to be cleaned, what needs fixed, any of those kinds of things. So it's a huge job. And on top of being dance captains, you're also in the show.
Yeah.
And so you're kind of holding these 2 roles the whole time, which has been super impressive to see how well you guys have balanced all of that. It's been really, really fun. One unique thing about this show that I'm sure we'll talk through a couple times is that our sets came in late, right? They didn't come in late. They were planned that way, but in the process of rehearsal, they were delivered because we rented the majority of our sets,
Mm-hmm.
and so they were delivered towards the end. And so we've been practicing all of these dances without it, and we've got a lot of numbers that have set changes in them. So how has that challenge been as you've been working through cleaning choreography?
It's so weird to have imaginary props at first, because we're just back here, we're just running, and we're where am I running to? And especially kind of combining with crew, I was been like run over by a prop the other day because I didn't know it was coming. It's like, oh, there's an actual like big door just coming right at me. So it's just like kind of like remembering that like this fake thing back here was actually like this huge set and we didn't know.
Yeah. An example is probably during The World Will Know, and we all have to go into this big gate, and we all got on this imaginary, well, not imaginary, it was made, but a little wooden platform that couldn't fit us all and did not spin, and now we all need to go into this
Actual
like,
real platform that
where
does
we all
spin.
have to cram in like little sardines and
The
spin
one-
around it.
yeah.
And what else is there? I would also probably mention Once and For All, because we all pretended to get moved on platforms, and yesterday was my first time being on one of those platforms getting moved, and I thought I was going to fall like 7 feet to my death.
Yeah.
They are high.
I liked
They're very
when
high.
we like practiced, but like the props, because we just made them like fast. We had something and they would just like break. Like we'd all stand on the wooden platform and you just heard it like cracking
Sink.
in on itself.
Yeah. Certainly a new experience.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of like when you see the green screen on movies. You seen
Yeah.
that? Like the behind the scenes when it's the
Yeah,
green
yeah,
screen
yeah.
trying to fake everything.
Yes.
I always think that's really odd to do, so I don't think that's something I could do.
It's a weird experience.
Yeah. One highlight this season I feel like we've had is we were able to have Nick Mason come in, who was an original Newsie and was in the Disney version, the recorded version, stage version of Newsies. And so as dancers, talk about that. What was that like?
Also know this one. I thought we got a lot of great insight from him, and it felt better having someone from well, not better. It just felt really nice having someone from Broadway give you those like Broadway tips, or maybe kind of an insider view of what it felt like, because they were there kind of in like the process of creating and really shaping the musical. So he gave us a lot of tips for our intentions during some of the song, like to always look up at the highest point for Pulitzer, because I would have never done that if he never said that.
Sure.
I would have just been looking straight out and nobody would have gotten the point. But just simple little Broadway tips like look up at this guy and be very menacing just can change a whole lot in a show.
Yeah.
So explain that for those of us that are not dance people or show people.
He just, in a lot of just our dancing, we always had to have our head tilted a little higher up, our eyes always looking straight up, probably as high as we, well, not to the ceiling, but almost as high as we could above, because
Above the audience?
Yeah, above the audience to
But
pretend.
what, I guess my
Why?
question, why? How does that change the experience?
Because it doesn't symbol, oh, we're just dancing here in the street because we're going on strike. We're going against this guy whose tower, well, not tower, but his building is very high up, and we're going right at him, right in his face, staring at him like, look at us, we're going against you. And it's not just, we're dancing because we're dancing. It gives meaning behind the dancing.
Tells the story better.
Yeah.
I think for me, I was like a little starstruck. I was like, oh my gosh, he was on Broadway. I just watched him on the Disney Plus recording. And it's just like really amazing experience to have people brought in. Like in Marysville, we have all these like dance studios and vocal lessons, but when you bring in someone who's like lived it, like for real, is just super exciting. And it's just, you learn so much, and you don't realize how much you can learn from like one person from this one major experience he had.
It was awesome.
What was your experience as an adult?
I think I was most proud of his feedback, kind of off the side about you all. I mean, I remember when we were getting ready to set some of King of New York, and we were sitting in the audience, Nick and I were getting our tap shoes on, and he was like, I just had no idea this is what I was walking into. Like, I just expected like a stereotypical high school musical, and that's
Which
not
means?
what this is. Apparently not this level of quality. I mean, he was like, I just had no idea that multiple dance studios came together and were, that this was such a community collaborative effort, and the quality that you had. Like, he was genuinely impressed, which I think speaks volumes to you guys. So I think that was I mean, of course, it's always amazing. Like you're starstruck that you're meeting somebody who was on Broadway, and you go back and you watch like Newsies on Disney Plus, and you're like, I met that guy, right? But boy, was I like so proud of this cast for him to speak so genuinely about it. you know.
So was that an
awesome.
experience that helped you wanting to do or thinking about doing this long term?
Yeah, I mean, I've been like wanting to do this like forever, and I've just kind of always been like, yep, that's what I'm gonna do, and it makes sense. And it's just like, especially learning from him, like other teaching styles, it's always great to like expand who you teach with. Like, I love going to like conventions and stuff, and just like, obviously I love the dancing part, but just like being able to like learn how they teach is just always like super exciting, and I always like just like doing it.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, we are almost to Tech Week right now. So these lovely young ladies have to go run some of our rehearsal. But from the choreographer's perspective, I can't tell you thank you enough. You guys have really, really been rock stars as dance captains and have helped tremendously the quality of the show. So you're awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yay. All right, so we are back with the Good Stuff podcast, and now we have some of our cast of Newsies, some of the leads. So let's start actually by you guys introducing yourselves. Cece, we can start with you.
Okay, my name is Cecilia Langhouse. I'm a freshman, and I play Davy.
I'm Sophie Fairchild. I play Les, and I'm in 7th grade.
I'm Kaya Thatcher. I am a junior, and I play Catherine.
I am Lucas Langhouse. I am a sophomore, and I play Jack.
Awesome. So we are going to start by just talking a little bit about the historical significance of the show. So who wants to dive into that topic?
I can get us started.
Okay.
The Newsboys strike happened in 1899. It's what the musical is based off of. And a lot of characters in the musical are based off of people in the show. Like Jack Kelly was based off of, his name was Kid Blink. He had one eye. He was kind of the leader of the strike. Catherine's a more weird situation.
Yeah, so Catherine her name is from Pulitzer's daughter. Her name in real life was Catherine, but she died when she was 2 of pneumonia. So her actual like character is based off of a woman named Annie Kelly, and she was just one of the women that actually participated in the strike in 1899, and that was just a rare case, so they wanted to acknowledge her for that. Yeah, I guess.
Oh, and throughout the show, there are a lot of like little references to it. In one of the songs, we say, "The world will know," and "the journal too," which during the Newsboys strike, those were the 2 papers that actually raised their price. In the show, we do mention how the Sun raises their price. In reality, the Sun actually never raised their price. It was only the New York World and the New York Journal whoever raised their price. That's why those 2 are called out a lot in the show.
How has this being a actual historical event informed the way that you guys are portraying the characters and telling the story? I think Cece's ready to jump in too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me personally, like, we had to do character studies, so we had this like paper. She gave us a paper, and we had to write down like certain things. So I think just like really getting to know who our actual people were, and then reflecting it on the musical, it just gives us like a glimpse into like what actually happened, and there's more emotion to it now. Like, we're more emotionally like connected to it, knowing that like this actually happened and it wasn't good. So.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that statement. I think for Catherine, she very much paved the way, especially for women, and I have to think about that and embody that when I'm playing her, because it doesn't necessarily come naturally, but when I think about how she affected the way women acted throughout the strike, it allows me to just dive deeper into the character and get into it. Yeah.
Good? Yeah, awesome. So kind of playing on that, how is this show different than maybe shows you've been in before, or different than what the audience has maybe seen before?
This show definitely has like a lot more like history behind it, other than like last year we did Mary Poppins. Like, that's just like a movie and stuff, but like this show has like so much history on it, and like it's just like so like amazing, like how it like all ties into a musical and stuff.
I'm not looking at it the historical way, but like it's different for me. Like, the set is really different. This is like one of the biggest shows I've been in, and it's my first like high school show. I did Mary Poppins last year, but I was a dancer, so I don't know. It's just like a different feel and like a different atmosphere, I guess.
How about you guys?
Sure, I'll go. So yeah, this is different for me because I have only ever auditioned to be in dance ensemble during musicals. So this was my first time auditioning for a role, which big step between dance ensemble and character, but
Lead character.
yeah, this musical has just been so like engaging, whereas like our musicals in the past have been big and we have connected over them, but I feel like specifically this year with the emotion and the realness of the musical, it's allowed us to become closer as a group, and I feel like I'm spending a whole lot more time with everybody. Yeah, just being able to like engage with people more is something.
And I think, especially with this show, when we're building characters, as CC said earlier, it's a lot easier, I think, for this show than other shows that I've been in, because there's stuff we can go look at other than just past performances. So if we're curious about what our character was like, we can go look at historical documents and read about them. Whereas if you're doing another show like Mary Poppins, all you really have is the movies and other shows. There's no historical stuff behind
You've
it.
never really experienced a doll coming to life.
Yeah,
It's not
that's-
been a thing.
There's rumors. They say it happens.
Yeah. Good. Anything that the audience, like as an audience member, if they've come to see shows that have been here in the past, any differences that they can expect with this show? What do you think? Oh, are you like looking at it? Is that what you're saying? Look behind us.
I mean, the set.
The
and then
set,
The
yeah.
there's
set definitely.
also lots of like really small details that like we put in there, especially like with Nick coming in and showing us like different stuff. He taught us like smaller details, so like just like watching for the little things,
Yeah.
and that will help you understand the show a lot.
Yeah, there's so many Easter eggs, and Lucas is anticipating talking, but yeah, there's so many little Easter eggs, and like I heard you guys talking earlier about looking up at Pulitzer's Tower, like just little things like that. Lucas, I'll let you.
Oh, there's some fun ones. On this behind us, there's this massive wall. You probably can't see it 'cause it's blocked by this, but there's all these little chunks of newspapers, and I'm pretty sure that the one in the corner right over there is a Titanic from the or an article about the Titanic.
Okay. Look at
There's
that.
also one of the newspapers is a newspaper about the Newsies strike itself.
Yeah.
It's the ones we dance on. So
Yeah.
there's just a few small things like that that you probably can't even see from the art. We can't even see from on stage, but if you look close enough, it's kind of cool.
Yeah. That's awesome. Oh yeah. Steven's ideal pencil. Yeah. How has been getting used to the height of the set? How is
Oh
that?
my goodness.
It's terrifying.
Okay, so scene 6 in Act 2 is Lucas and I's scene where so we're on the rooftop together, and oh my goodness, the first time we went on that set, I was like hold my hand, I'm gonna fall off of this thing. Like I made him help me down the ladder because it is so high. And I remember we were like over in the front of the stage, and our heads were literally cut off by the curtain. Like you couldn't see us. So it's really high and it's a little scary, but you get used to it.
For Once and For All, we did it yesterday with the set for the first time, and I'm like splitting like the center area with Maddie Levy, and it's like wide open 'cause they connect.
Yes.
But we do not have time to close the gates.
Yes.
So during the blackout, we get rolled out on them, and I'm like on the edge 'cause it's filled with people, and it was terrifying. Like Luke literally grabbed me and was like, "I won't let you fall. Like it's okay." I was like terrified.
Definitely, the set is like super tall. For the first time yesterday, I went up on the big platform, and like I was like walking up there. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so scary. And like I had to go down the ladder, and I was like, I hope I don't fall. It was like really funny.
Yeah.
The first time I got on it, it was we were running Act 1, and it was me and Drew, 'cause we start Act 1. We start at like front
Yes.
of the stage.
Yeah.
And so we're back here getting on it, and crew's wheeling us up, and we're laying down, so we can't really see as much.
Uh-huh.
And the scariest thing that I've ever seen from the top of that is seeing that little brick line right there disappear. 'Cause according to Drew, which we were not, we were actually really far back, I found out. But according to Drew, we were right on the brick.
Right. No.
And I don't know,
Yeah.
because when we had the
Probably just
practice
looked like it.
sets. Well, yeah,
Yeah.
we had the practice sets, and those moved a little bit,
Yes.
even if you locked them.
Sure.
So we'd always get really close to the edge on those. So I was terrified I was gonna fall in.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you didn't. I'm glad you didn't. And by next week, by show, I'm sure you'll all look like pros being way up there.
Hopefully.
Or just act really well.
Mhm.
Okay? Turn the acting game on. Yeah. Sophie, it's you and 2 other kids that are not high schoolers in the production. How's that been?
It's like really fun just to like be able to get this like awesome experience to get a feel what it's like to be in a high school like show, and like it's been like an awesome opportunity for me because it's like my first lead role and like getting
And a
to do
super
it in a high
fun
school
role.
show.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing.
Yeah. Les is a super fun role. Yeah. I'm excited to see you just have a blast on stage. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Good. How has the accent been this year? Right? Because last year we had an accent. This year's a different accent. How is it?
I
How
don't
is that?
have one.
Yeah, I don't have
How
one.
is that? Learn?
Lucas.
It's been fun.
No.
She yelled at me yesterday, actually. Funny.
we're still working
speaking
on
that.
it.
We're still
Okay.
working on it. Well, I
Okay.
have troubles with my ecky. I, for some reason, give myself. Is
In
it a
real
lisp?
life or in
No,
accent life?
in the accent. When I do
Okay.
the is it a lisp? It's like a. For some reason, I keep doing like this lisp. An off to the side thing. But I'm working on it. We're almost there, I think. Hoping.
Okay. It'll be what it'll be, right? Yeah. Yeah. Anything else? What are you most excited about? Opening night. You're like, curtain has not opened. What are you most excited about?
The audience reactions,
Yeah.
I
because
was
like
just about to say that.
I don't know, the set's so cool this year. The costumes look super good, and I think it's just like a different show than we usually do. And it's like actually it's so cool, and I'm just excited to see what they think about it. And also, we haven't like had like laughs or anything, so seeing like
Sure.
where it fits in and stuff, I love doing that.
Yeah, I agree with everything Cece said. Like, it's always different when the audience reacts. Like, you just get like, I don't know. I want them to feel the sad.
Energized.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I want them to feel the happy, and I want them to like laugh at everything. Yes, the adrenaline just like it rushes, and it's just such a good feeling. Like, yeah, it's an addiction, low key.
Yeah.
Adrenaline rush. I love adrenaline. Yeah, I'm everything Kaya said. I'm super excited about just seeing how the audience reacts. I like right after opening night when you can finally hear how people thought of the show, because then you still have 2 more
Sure,
shows to
sure.
go, but you have an idea of how people are liking it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's fun too when you think you know all of the places the audience is going to react. You're like, they're for sure going to laugh at this. And then there's always those moments that you didn't expect, which are just fantastic. They're the best parts, like when the audience reacts and I didn't know they'd think that was funny or they'd be surprised by that. So yeah, I agree. I'm excited. I'll be in the audience yelling Newsies of New York, at the end, the rally cry. Yeah. Anything else? You guys are awesome. It's going to be a fantastic show.
Check.
They're all good.
Check 1. Check 2. Check. How now, brown
No,
cow? How
they
now,
didn't.
brown cow? Unique New York.
Okay, so we are back with the Good Stuff podcast. We are with our Newsies fearless leaders, Bree and Luke, who are the backbone of the arts and musical and theater and all the things department here at the high school.
You may have just seen
And
Bree back here painting, so Jack of
sorry
many
about that.
trades.
all the trades. Yeah. So this has been a big undertaking. Every show is a big undertaking, and I feel like each show there's something unique about it that makes it extra tricky. So how has been directing, producing, costuming, creating all of the things of Newsies been for you guys?
One new thing, I'm not sure what the kids talked about, so this might be repeated, but one big, huge new thing this year was we invested in a rental for a lot of our set. So that it was we essentially, my classes built temporary sets that we ran with for 3 months. And then the set got here just this week. So we kind of, unloaded it and built it. It's interesting though, because this is how professional shows run. They show up on the truck and they unload it and they build it and then they tear it down the next day. So it's actually it's a new experience for the kids because we're looking at engineering drawings and we're looking at someone else's craftsmanship and we're trying to piece this together, which is what real techs would do in the world anyway. So that is a new. It was kind of a big wild card because we had no idea what was showing up until we opened the truck. So that was hugely challenging, and we're still. That's what we're doing now. Is still kind of piecing through all of that. But that was just like a new. I think exciting, like just big thing we've never done on that scale before.
Yeah, I would say that was the biggest challenge for sure. The biggest, of course, in theater, it's the fear of the unknown, what you don't have control of. And so getting the set in, it's actually made for flight systems. It's not supposed to be dead hung, and our theater is what's called dead hung.
Yeah.
So we don't have a weighted bar system where in most professional theaters and some high school theaters, depending on when the auditorium was built and how much money was invested in it, every single bar that you see here comes down on a weighted track. So you're able to hook everything up and then bring it up. For us, if we had this frame moved over just, 10 feet, you would see we have a lift in here right now. So Luke and I have to be certified to be able to use the district's lifts. So
we're
we
the
do
only
training.
ones who do that. So every single light bulb and every single set that hangs, that's completely our responsibility, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So we had to, you'll see if you come to the show, April
Which you
19th,
should.
April 19th and 20th.
When
7
you
p-
come to the show.
Yeah,
be
when
here.
you come to the show. April 19th, 7 p.m. And then Saturday matinee, 2 p.m. And Saturday evening, 7 p.m. There is no Sunday show this year. It's abnormal just because we outfit how many tickets we think we can sell each year. When you come to the show, you will see that there is a huge world door that leads into Pulitzer's office, per se. It's massive, and that is one piece that the students loaded off of our 50-foot tractor trailer onto the ground. We built a platform. We erected that 16 feet world door and then have a weighted system that we had to build in the back so it wouldn't topple over because it's a working door. Same thing with Meta's arch. We couldn't even use the arch that we rented because it's supposed to be flown in.
Yeah,
And we don't
those
have that
pieces
capability.
are actually too tall for our space. So we had to take down, you'll see all of the valance curtains just to make room, including the big set behind us. It's too tall. So we had to rearrange all of the curtain rods and all the pipes and all the electrics to get everything to fit.
Yeah. So I would say that's the most challenging aspect in this show. We chose the show because we have insane dancers. I mean, our 3 dance companies that are in town, all of our dance instructors, thank you. We would not be able to have the show choir program that we have. We would not be able to have the musicals that we have if it weren't for you. I'm not teaching these kids. Like, I don't know anything about dance. Our dance teachers do. And they prepare them so well that we can look at any show that we want to. I mean, if we want to look at Thoroughly Modern Millie, we have the Tappers. Most schools cannot look at that show. Mary Poppins, normally the biggest flop of the show is Step in Time. Because it's a huge it's 7 minutes of tapping. Yeah. And last year, mind you, we were cleaning up until the night of, but we were working once a week with choreo. So for the kids to get that, it boggles my mind the amount that these students can do, and having sophomores being our leaders for cleaning everything, that's a huge power struggle. And I give the students so much credit for the program that they are building, because to take direction from a peer, and it's a direct critique. It's saying you are doing this wrong, because in dance, it's just like when you're singing, it's black and white. You're either right or you're wrong. And if you're wrong, everyone else around you is doing it correctly. So it's going to detract from the show. So we are really meticulous with that. And it's been a little push and pull at the beginning because you have 10th graders explaining you are doing this wrong. And that's really hard in a leadership position to be able to tell your peers that, and your peers be able to take it. But they've really grown from that experience, both the people that are getting that delivered to them and the people that are delivering. And they've really worked together to create a really phenomenal
And the kids come
production.
in with so much experience and so much commitment. I mean, they're getting trained 4th, 5th, 6th grade, a lot of them way down.
Oh, sure.
And this
like
class,
3-year-olds.
Yeah. the cast right now is really young for the most part.
Yeah.
And the next couple classes below them are going to be huge. So honestly, the kids are never really a challenge. Like, the kids come in and are committed and show up and want to put the hard work in.
Right.
That's like the easy part.
Yeah.
You know?
And they have so many experiences on stage prior to us. I mean, you have STW, you have Red School of Music that is able to put on productions for younger students. I can't teach how to fill the gaps when you have nothing to do as an actor.
Sure.
Right? That is
Sure.
something where you gain, the more experience you have on stage, the more comfortable you are being a human being on stage rather than reading a script and just delivering. And so most of the students that are coming to us, they've already been on stage since they're 5 years
Yeah,
old.
and our
yeah.
tech kids, I mean, 5 years ago when I started, I was on the mixer board for every single second of everything. But now we've been doing this and we have the program built up enough that I haven't touched the sound mixer all year, right? I
Right.
have kids and with the lights. Like, I haven't moved a light fixture all year because the students know how to do it. I have sophomores who are running all the lights and can do all of it independently.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which is amazing.
I wanted to touch on that because I think the program as it stands now, we've had about 100 kids, roughly 100 kids who have contributed to
Yeah.
making this show happen, and I think it speaks volumes not just to the quality of program that you guys have created and are running, but also the opportunities that exist. So it's not just for singer,
Right.
dancer, actors anymore, but it's also for crew, for lights and sets, and not just working it during the show, but creating it and being
Right.
on the ground floor of that. And I think it's an incredible opportunity that we didn't have when we were
Right.
here,
Yeah.
100 years ago. But
We have students who are in college right now who are sound engineers and light engineers
Yeah.
who are going to do this full time. I have students plugging in sober programs and doing festivals and running tech, and I think who are like committed to do this
Oh, absolutely.
for a long term,
So
which
Yeah.
is amazing.
I was just thinking, what about the, I heard a stat one time that, 1 in a couple million kids become professional athletes versus 1 in 426 become a doctor, lawyer,
Right.
something. So I would assume the majority probably don't go on to the arts.
Right.
What are
Right.
the transferable skills and the value that the kids that don't pursue this after, like what, as somebody who didn't do this,
Yeah.
like what do you guys see as the most impactful things that kids take away?
Yeah, one thing I tell my students all the time is it's more competitive to get into a conservatory than it is to get into any sort of Ivy League school. And that's a fact. I mean, it truly is. It's so competitive because if you look, CCM takes 12 kids, right, in their musical theater
Yeah.
program.
yeah,
Juilliard, less. I mean, it's so extremely competitive to get into the top schools. So sometimes it seems like it's this unrealistic, unreachable thing, but there's so many facets that you can continue to do. Like I was reading Dalton Kane is our percussionist in the pit. He's a senior this year. And I was reading his bio, and he has done onstage acting. He has done lighting and sound. He was doing lights for Little Shop of Horrors. He's been in the pit. And his biggest thing is, what I have gained from here and this experience is the responsibility as an individual to take this seriously and the time commitment that it takes outside of the rehearsal and taking ownership in what you are doing and making sure that what you put out is of the excellence that is demanded from you. I always tell the students, like, well, we can put on something mediocre and we don't have to put nearly as much time into it. And Ashley can water down the choreo to what Nick said when he was in here giving us a training. He's like, I expected to come in and do box steps and step touches. He's like, I'm giving them the Broadway choreo. Can they handle it? I'm like, ask
and
Ashley.
the answer is yes.
Yes, they can. You will see.
They don't just handle it; they kill it.
Yeah,
and
King of New York is amazing.
And I think for students, some students, might be the only show they're ever in. Like I have
Right,
students who
sure.
are on crew, they're seniors, this is the first show ever.
Yeah.
And I think, when even if you have a really small part in a production like this, when you step back and you look at what you can do as a large group, that is a kind of skill, like looking 50 or 60, 15 and 16 and 17-year-old kids can get together and do this amazing thing. That kind of like affirmation I think you get from that can take you into any job or career because you realize that like even this tiny little thing that seems minuscule, moving this thing on stage or being back the stage dancer, like that when you look at it from like a global standpoint, you step away from that, you realize like how impactful it can be just by being committed to this group effort, which I think is something that goes into any job
Right.
anywhere.
And ensuring that nothing goes
Right.
wrong. I mean, we have a 200-page playbook
Right.
for crew. And then we have a 100-page libretto. And then we have, I mean, everything that we do, you don't have an opponent to make it wrong, right? There's no anomalies that can happen. There's nothing that can be thrown at you in a sense of like something going wrong. it has to be exactly as written and how it was supposed to be in order for it to be effective. And that means every single kid that is part of this production has to execute it perfectly. Everyone has to have 100% on that exam. If you do 90, if every kid had a 99%, can you imagine? Like, the show would be 3 hours long, and there'd be so many mistakes. It has to be at 100% to the best of their ability. And the beautiful thing about that too is, 40 minutes down the road, somebody can rent Newsies, and they can put on the same exact production, but you can never replicate this ever again with these students that you have and what they are putting forth, right? With the directors that you have, every single production will be different because of who is involved. And that's such a tangible thing that you can tell to students that this will never be done again, ever, in the history of the world.
We have a student who's a new student. He moved in middle of the school year from a different district. So he came in not knowing anyone, he didn't know a single, he just happened to be placed in my set design class just because he needed credit, and this guidance counselor just put him here, go here. And he's like in the light closet organizing, like singing musical theater off the top of his lungs. Like he's in it, right?
And he had told me, he was helping me hang signs out in Alumni Hall, and I was
No
like, hey,
experience at all. Nothing.
I think you'd be good at set design. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I think you'd be good on crew for musicals. He's like, oh, I don't want to be a theater nerd. And I was like, well, what makes us be nerdy, because you have to know theater inside and out for you to execute it properly. So in case, yes, we are nerds, but it's the same exact thing with sports. Like, if you're a football player, you're a football nerd. For sure. If you are a computer person, you're a computer nerd. You decide what you want to be amazing at.
It's like I tell my daughter, weird isn't a bad thing.
No.
There's good weird. It's
Define
just,
normal.
Well, my point is, it's your weird.
Yeah.
Like, what's your weird?
For sure.
And that student, like, he might graduate and never do theater ever again. I have no idea.
Sure.
But just being part of this for a year or two, it can be a massive impact, I think, for a student, for any student. But, it's just amazing to watch that transition happen so quickly.
Yeah.
And he's, like, dialed in, and he's here every single second.
So responsible.
And who knows what he does later on in life, but, like, he'll always have this little thing, right, that you can always refer back to. It's like, I did that thing, which was amazing with these people.
So I'll just stop there. No, now I'm second guessing myself. Don't
second guess yourself. Do it.
Oh,
we're ready.
Okay. Now I'm going to throw off my phrasing. No, I'm going to go down a path of, so all of those things that get this experience for these kids and kind of pull some of these things out of these new kids or new experiences or whatever, tying that with these incredible sets that, if you had a fly system or whatever you called it, the above to raise and lower, like you see in professional sets.
Yeah.
How much different, thinking about back when you were on stage 20 years ago, when I was in the audience watching these things, and how different things are, and just like Mary Poppins, watching the walk around, that, and all of that. Like, the ability to get into some of those things and have some of the experiences like you're talking about, how a set gets dropped off, you put it together, it goes out in the real world scenario in that, like, how much are dollars tied to that? To be blunt,
huge.
I was going to dance around that a little
No,
more.
it's okay. No, I mean, theater's expensive.
We're really lucky that we have a boosters program that's really supportive, and we do fundraisers, and we raise every penny.
Yes.
Every penny of this massively expensive rental, and there's a huge amount of money, like a shocking amount of money. I don't think normal people realize how much it costs to do this.
Yeah.
And right now it's all 100% self-funded by our program, by our kids hitting the streets, raising money, us doing fundraisers. That's
and
it.
selling
right?
tickets
selling
to
tickets.
really
selling
high
tickets.
quality
Yeah,
shows.
yeah,
Like,
and selling tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the issues of like facilities and all those, I mean, those are budget issues that it comes down to pictures that are bigger than us.
Right.
We try and we push and we're trying to like make some changes. A lot of that's out of our control.
Right. I mean, we had a very large monetary donation from a family where their child graduated last year, and we're very, very indebted to the Miller family. They donated a large sum of money, and that is why this floor is painted black. They were able to offset over half the amount that it would cost to get this painted black. And this is something that's been a necessity for a safety issue. If you look at dancing last year during Step in Time and they're in their taps, you're dancing on a basketball floor. I mean, you really are. And a volleyball court. It was a gymnasium court that had a very veneer top to it, so it was very slippery. And when you have metal tap shoes,
liken it to being on an ice skating rink.
Right.
Yeah, and we had multiple kids that were falling, and now when they walked on here, they're like, I stick. What is this? And they're able to execute all of. We're able to tumble on the floor, and had we not had that financial donation, we would have had to have done different choreo. I mean, hands down.
100%.
We're really
Yes.
fortunate to like. We have a lot of money that we support independently through boosters and through donations. We're lucky that our administration here is really supportive of what we want to do and really helps push to make some changes. But then there is like the larger issue outside of this building, outside of the district, even in the community, where it's like, you know, the community supporting these things, either showing up, buying tickets, showing up for all those sorts of things, just is a massive.
Being willing to sponsor things.
Exactly. Sponsorships, anything like that makes a huge difference. And just to kind of like take this up, we're taking this up level by level by level every year. Yeah, there's definitely big roadblocks just financially.
So what about volunteer? I always try to input the, you don't have money, you got time.
Right.
You know, most of the time somebody's got time. Are there volunteer opportunities of sets or?
There are. It's a slippery slope though, because what we do is theatrical based. It's different than going and building a stick-built house, you know? And because it is a very specific idea, sometimes folks come in and they want to make their opinion heard. And quite frankly, like this is no offense, but this is how I operate. Your opinion doesn't matter, right?
So you're saying no, and I should cut this question out.
No. Volunteers are amazing, and we always need volunteers. I mean, it's a two-man show. There are two supplementals, to oversee 100 kids and to make sure their vocals are set, their choreography is set, that the stage crew is good, that the lights, the sound, the costuming. I mean,
all the production component of it, like tickets and
putting the
the
playbill
rights
together
and the playbill and I mean, there's
So
so
here's a good
many.
question: in a professional setting, say this is we're making money here.
Yeah.
What staff would somebody have to do what you're doing in a professional sense?
20 or 30 people.
I wouldn't say 30. It's
Depends
getting a
on
little
how big of a
overzealous.
show we are.
I would say so. 10 to 15. Realistically, and looking at other communities, they have if they're a well-funded and well-supported community, you normally have 7 to 8 that are paid. Delaware, our pit director, he works at Delaware, and they have every single student pit musician has a paid adult musician that's part of their supplemental as well. So if you have a pit of 15, automatically there's 15 supplementals that are being paid. And they're paying them appropriately because they're professionals. They have a degree in what they are doing.
Really?
That's just for the pit. And they also pay their pit director with the supplemental through the school district.
And
we don't have that. We're self-funded for that. Choreographer.
A lot of schools that run in shows of this size and quality, that's kind of the breakdown of the way it works. We're running with, there's 2 paid people on this team here, you know, that are supported by the district. But there's a lot, you know, if we could adding to that over time, which is what we're talking about and working with admin potentially over time, it makes a huge difference because then it takes work off of us, but also allows us to hire professionals that are better than us to do that stuff.
Jack of all trades, master of none right here.
Bree should not be directing the pit. It's not her expertise, right? I should not be doing something I'm doing because it's not necessarily my expertise, right? So like the more professionals we can bring in
the
to
better
do
quality
this.
we can
Yeah,
have.
for sure.
Which does need to be said. I think the level of quality I saw last year and what it sounds like, what I've heard from her this year.
It's high, yeah. It's
I mean, for
kids are
it's
especially
incredible.
Yeah.
well, and you guys have nothing to do with that. I was trying to give you a compliment.
Well, thank you.
I'm
bad at taking those.
I know.
I've taken lots of kids to like other shows at like local colleges and things around here, and one of the big things they notice is like, oh, we're doing higher level quality work than a
For
lot.
sure.
You know, you go to a
And
lot
that's not
of
a
small
knock to the
college-
colleges.
No, it's not
because they
It's
don't
not.
have the budget either.
You're right. Yeah, it's not a knock to anyone. It's
Right.
just like we're doing that level. Like these kids are at that level, and the shows that we're doing are on a level that's beyond most high schools.
Yeah.
For sure. But
So
we're
what-
definitely we're threading through to get some of it done for sure.
Yeah, it's pre-tech week. We're good.
Yeah.
We're much better this year than last year. We made all of our
Yes.
sets last year, and we.
You basically recostumed at the last minute.
I did, yes. This year, I'm very big on color schemes for costuming. I think it's very intentional on stage. And that's a me thing, and I know that. My mom tells me that all the time. She helped make all of our vests for the Newsies, and she made Catherine's costumes. And I was able to source a authentic, like, early 1900s suit from a woman in Tennessee. Her dad was a tailor, and she's like, I have this. It's just sitting in my closet, and it was blue. I'm like, perfect. Yeah, Pulitzer's crew needs to be blue because that's royal, and it's so much about the rich versus the poor, and that's why the kids keep on talking about looking up. They're looking up in the catwalks because the idea is they're on the streets selling things, and Pulitzer's up in his office on a high-rise looking down on them. And we needed royal colors, and then all of the Newsies are in earth tones. You will not see a gray, you will not see a black, you won't see any red, purple, nothing. They are in greens and they are in tans. That's it. Pulitzer's crew, they're all blue and they're gray and they're black. And then Catherine, if you notice in the beginning, she's in a pink top and dress. And so that's kind of a play on both with some blue undertones. And then for the second act, she's in a green skirt, because she is being drawn towards the Newsies, and she's in love with Jack. So of course he's the leader of the Newsies. So everything that we do, Meta's theater is all reds and purple, so it just screams luscious colors, and you can't get that unless you have a costumer that's willing to say yes. So thank you, Mom.
And just to go back quickly to your question about like if community members, like what can they do to help, that kind of question, because it's a hard question to answer. But I think one thing to do is reach out to one of us.
Yeah.
Ask, what can we do? What do you need?
Like we need a flatbed.
Right. Just like
load in on
honestly,
Monday.
there's random props or sets or costumes or things we're missing. Or like supporting the boosters or our boosters.
Yeah.
Our boosters
boosters are
program
amazing.
is for very committed parents.
Yeah.
And at some point, we're going to need more people there, right? So just being involved in that. And that's all community-based stuff that could happen for anyone.
Very good. Well, any other pertinence? That's probably getting time to wrap up.
Yeah.
I know you guys could go for hours.
We could. Yeah, we're so proud of the kids. Parents, thank you. Thank you for taking your kids to every single dance lesson, every single voice lesson, every single rehearsal since they were young. What you see on this stage is because of you and your commitment to making sure that they are pursuing their passion, and we would not be able to put on the productions without that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And anyone else that has any part of these productions, we always are a little frazzled towards the end, and sometimes we don't give you the thank you that you deserve. So
And get your kids into it. Like if your kid wants to show up, we have kids who have never auditioned ever, and they're on stage in big roles. Like
Kenzie.
There's opportunity.
Yeah. Kenzie popped out of nowhere. She's our dance captain. I'm like, who are you?
Yeah.
And she is absolutely incredible.
Get your kid in a dance class or a voice lesson or a choir, or have an audition for a show. You'd be amazed. You think that some of these kids, come in and are ready, and get the leads right away. But like, there's always random students who just show up to auditions who we don't know,
right?
Who blow us away. And get your kids to show up.
Yeah.
Have them an audition.
Yeah, start young too. We have an 8th grader that's training to do sound because he was so reliable and so gung ho, and just a responsible and amazing student that our middle school production team said, you really want Austin. Like, if you want to train somebody, he is the 8th grader. So we have an 8th grade crew member for the first time, and he has absolutely floored us with his responsibility. We don't have to micromanage him. He's here at every single rehearsal doing what he needs to do. So, yeah, the responsibility is key for that.
Yeah, I would say if you have a kid who's at all interested in anything musical, bring them to the show and let them see what they could do, and then start asking questions, because our community is rich with art opportunity, and they don't have to wait until high school or middle school. They can be 6, or younger, and get into dance classes or voice lessons or whatever it might be. But there are lots of opportunity to do and to engage in art in our town. And so start asking questions, figure out how you can get them plugged in.
Yeah.
It's a good scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing this. We appreciate you.
Yep,
Thanks for joining us again.
Absolutely.
Good time. I'm excited to see the show. I hear her
great.
come home and talk about things, and I always enjoy being a fly on the wall in the audience. So look forward to that.
Excited to see the girls. Our girls love Newsies. Love Newsies.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm so excited to see them watch the show.
And sing along and
sing,
Dance along.
strike.
Yeah.
And cheer during the strike scene.
So,
Yes,
Yeah.
they love it.
they do.
Well, yes, thank you for having us here in your space. Good luck with all the things. I'm going to get out of here before you put me to work painting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, don't
Get
worry
pretty
about that.
close.
We're here until 9 cleaning
Are you
choreo.
Lyft certified by chance?
Yes.
Lift certified as far as being able to
Could he
operate
figure it
one?
out?
Yes.
Yes.
I can operate one. I don't think those.
Has he operated one? Yes. With the certification,
No.
no. But we
No.
can edit that part out.
Yes.
Just kidding.
Not here at MHS.
Rule
No,
of thumb.
no,
Derek
not
Schwinn-
here.
Yeah, no,
Derek
not
Schwinn
here.
does not run the lift at
He
MHS.
does-
No.
Wink,
Just for
wink.
the
No,
record.
that's not a wink wink. Don't get us fired, please. I like my job.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Thanks for those of you who watched this long. Hopefully you enjoyed the conversation. If you guys have any questions, reach out. Come see the show. Most importantly, there's
Yeah.
lots of good stuff going on.
April 19th and 20th.
Yep. And get out there and engage in whatever you do, whether it's theater or something else, or dance, or sports, or whatever.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Whatever your weird is. Bringing it all back.
I like it.
Yeah.
New tagline. Whatever your weird is.